Hey ladies and gentlemen, Steven here from Redolessence. Welcome back to another video. I hope you're all doing well. And in today's episode, I'm going to be giving you my first impression of the brand new 2020 release. This one is by Christian Dior and it's called Dior Homme Intense. So make sure to stay tuned. So obviously Dior Homme Intense is a fragrance that has been around for a very long time. It is a flanker of the original Dior Homme, which came out many years ago. As a matter of fact, the first Dior Homme Intense came out in 2007. I believe it was composed by Olivier Polge, who wasn't with Chanel at the time, so he was kind of making fragrances for many different companies. And then it was reformulated in 2011, and that's when Francois Demachy became the in-house perfumer for Dior, having made many of their fragrances, including many of the Maison Dior fragrances, many of which were actually reformulated, but that's a different conversation, different topic for a different video. So we went from 2007 to 2011, and here we are 9 years after that, 2020, but I believe this one actually came out in 2019 because I hear stories of some people who got their hands on it in like really late 2019. So I actually ordered this one off eBay. It seemed like a very reputable seller. He had really good ratings, or she had really good ratings. So I ended up purchasing this fragrance, and I'm going to be smelling it for the first time today. And so I did kind of spray it just to make sure that it works and everything, but I didn't get an opportunity to smell it. Now, one thing that I know about the Dior Homme Intense, I suppose the reformulation which I have here, the one that has Francois Demachy's name attached to it, is it actually does smell very similar to the 2007 version. A lot of people were complaining that it's not as beefy, it's not as rich, it's not as robust. You know, whenever I do smell them, they kind of smell similar to me. I haven't really done an exact side-by-side to be sure of it, but I know there are some fanatics of the company who are out to get every single batch variation, so to speak, that they can get their hands or nose on. But anyway, so here we have the 2020 version. I'm just going to spray this one on first. And I'm going to spray it on this blotter here, just to remind myself more or less of what it smells like. And as you can tell, I've worn a lot of this one, and so I've actually dropped it several times, so my atomizer isn't working properly. But yep, there's a smell that I remember. So this is one that I really enjoy. I love Dior Homme Intense, and it's one of my favorite fragrances. You kind of have this, you have the brightness of the lavender, you have this pear, ambrette, muskmallow thing going on in there, adding a little bit of a fruity touch. I know in the base, I think if I remember, it's been many years, but I think it has like vetiver, cedarwood. I don't really get much of that. It's almost like this fruity, creamy, sweet, velvety iris. And I think that that has been by far the biggest complaint of those who have had the opportunity to smell the reformulated version of Dior Homme 2020 original, not the intense version. And so they kind of did away with the iris. It's a completely reinvented smell. It's not comparable, excuse me, to the Dior Homme that came out many years prior. But yeah, I love this one. Very rich, sweet, velvety, a little bit resinous as well. It definitely has that fruity nuance in there. Yeah, it's one of my favorite fragrances of all time. I mean, I really enjoy this one. And when I was getting into the community in 2011, I've been a part of the community now for the past 8 years. I know I've only been making videos for the past 7.5 years. It's going to be 8 years this June. So we're just a few months away, but I remember watching videos in like 2010, 2011, and a lot of people were speaking very highly and very positively about this one. So the moment of truth, let's go ahead. My bottle is near full, so I'm actually really excited to wear this over the next week or so to see what kind of reaction I get, but also how it progresses on my skin, and to see if it is as similar to the intense version that we all know and love, or if it's a significant departure, as we've seen with the other Dior Homme. And so the presentation is actually quite similar. As it appears to me, the liquid, the color of the liquid inside the bottle is actually a little bit lighter with this one. And so I don't know if that is indicative of a significant reformulation or what, but let's go ahead and give this a smell. Oh, okay. Interesting. So, one moment. Okay, so they actually smell very similar. So good. I was a little worried about that. A part of me was kind of looking forward to a significant reformulation because from what I've been hearing, the original Dior Homme will still be available at the Paris boutique. So for those who are, really frustrated by the reformulation and they fear that they're going to have to buy backup bottle after backup bottle, there's still an opportunity for them to get it out there. However, it kind of is limited to that geographical region, excuse me. But from what I'm smelling here, it actually smells very similar to this Dior Homme Intense. And so smelling it again, that's interesting. So this one perhaps is a little bit richer, a little bit fuller, but there are a few things to attribute to that. Perhaps the fact that this has been macerating for a very long time. As you can tell, there is a lot of oxygen in this bottle, and so the lesser and lesser juice that you have in the bottle, it will be affected by the oxygen that's in there. And so a bottle that has a lot of liquid in it is not as likely to turn as one that has much less liquid in it. And so this one still has that sweetness in here, and I definitely perceive the lavender. It's very bright. It has this aromatic presence to it. It has a little bit of that fruitiness in there. I'm not quite sure where it's coming from, if it is coming entirely from the pear or the muskmallow or any other novel ingredient that has been introduced to this composition. But it actually does smell very similar to the original Dior Homme Intense, or I should say the 2011 reformulation. And another thing too, which I think is going to be a redeeming factor for a lot of people, is I also smell the iris in this. And so they had done away with the iris for the reformulated 2020 version of Dior Homme, but this one retains the iris. I get that creamy, buttery, wispy, floral nuance in there that is just being accented by all these other sweet and aromatic ingredients. It's a really well done fragrance, and so a part of me is also very happy. Like I said earlier on in the video, a part of me was kind of excited to smell a new take on Dior Homme Intense, maybe a more intense version of the 2020 Dior Homme, but I kind of like that they haven't really messed around with it too much. And so okay, this puts me at ease. I'm very happy that this exists. I'm very happy that going forward, we do have slightly new packaging. It doesn't smell as rich or robust as the original that I have here from 2011, but a part of me is comforted to know that they haven't deviated too strongly from the smell. As a matter of fact, it just smells like a newer batch, something that hasn't macerated as long. It actually comes across a little bit fresher too, so maybe a little bit more bergamot, a little bit more of a lively introduction, but underneath it all, you still get all of those familiar elements. You have the lavender and the iris and the creaminess, that buttery appeal to it. And so I actually really like this one. I'm enjoying it. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to give you my first impression of this fragrance. I'm also curious to know if you've had an opportunity out there to smell the new 2020 version either of Dior Homme Intense or Dior Homme. I would also be happy to part with a 5 milliliter decant if you're interested in trying it for yourself. I know it's not available at a mass level just yet, maybe not outside of Europe or something like that, but I do live on the East Coast here, and so it's not at my local Macy's, it's not anywhere else that I've looked. I also haven't visited the Dior boutique in Manhattan, and so perhaps when I do visit, unbeknownst to me, they've been carrying it for a while, but I just wasn't privy to it. But I really do enjoy this one. I'm happy that they haven't deviated too much from the formula. So if you are interested in entering for that 5 milliliter decant opportunity to win, all you need to do is leave a comment down below, and I will announce the winner in 1 week's time. I'm just going to pin the winning comment to the top of this comment thread, so please make sure to tune back into this video in 1 week to see if you've won. Thanks again for watching. If you are new to this channel and you took something of value from this video, I would really appreciate it if you could support this channel by subscribing to it. All you have to do is click that red button in the corner, and this way, whenever I do upload future fragrance related content, it will get delivered straight to your feed. You never need to worry about missing any of my future episodes or uploads, and that includes fragrance reviews just like this, top 10 videos, giveaways, unboxings, special guests, interviews, announcements, and a whole lot more. Thanks again for watching. I love you all. We'll see you next time. Bye.